8-year-old Emma's birthday party was supposed to be perfect. 20 of her closest friends gathered in the backyard, balloons dancing in the breeze, cake waiting to be cut. But when Canine Officer Thompson arrived with his German Shepherd partner Bolt for a surprise visit arranged by Emma's police officer father, the dog's reaction to the party photographer was immediate and alarming. Bolt backed away, hackles raised, growling at the friendly man who'd been taking pictures of children all afternoon. What Bolt detected would expose a predator who had infiltrated dozens of children's parties and saved 20 young lives from an unthinkable fate. Welcome to Saved by Tales. Before we dive into this chilling story of a canine's instincts protecting innocent children at what should have been the safest place on earth, tell me in the comments, have you ever had an animal react negatively to someone at a family gathering or child's event? And if you believe these incredible stories of animal heroes protecting our most vulnerable deserve to be heard, hit that subscribe button and join our community celebrating the four-legged guardians who can smell evil hiding behind friendly smiles. Detective Mike Chen had been planning Emma's 8th birthday party for weeks. His daughter deserved something special after the difficult year their family had endured following his wife Lisa's deployment overseas with the military. Emma had been brave about her mother's absence, but Mike knew she missed Lisa terribly, especially on special occasions. The backyard of their suburban Sacramento home was transformed into a princess wonderland. Pink and purple streamers hung from the trees, a bounce house dominated the lawn, and tables groaned under the weight of party food and presents. 20 of Emma's classmates from Riverside Elementary had arrived in their party clothes, faces bright with excitement. "This is the best party ever, Dad," Emma declared, twirling in her princess dress as her friends played games and waited for the cake ceremony. Mike had hired David Sullivan, a local photographer who specialized in children's events, to capture every moment for Lisa to see when she returned from deployment. Sullivan had excellent reviews online and came highly recommended by other parents in their community. "Mr. Sullivan is amazing," said Jennifer Martinez, whose daughter Sophia was one of Emma's best friends. "He photographed Sophia's communion last month. The pictures were beautiful, and he was so good with the kids." Sullivan appeared to be everything parents could want in a children's photographer. He was patient, gentle, and had a gift for making kids laugh and smile naturally. He'd been working children's events in the Sacramento area for 3 years, building a reputation as someone who truly understood how to work with young people. But Detective Chen was about to learn that some people who work with children have motives that go far beyond photography. Mike had arranged for his partner, Officer Janet Thompson, to stop by with her K9 unit as a surprise for Emma. The children in their neighborhood loved seeing police dogs, and Mike thought it would be a special addition to the party that Emma could share with her mother in photos. "Bolt loves meeting kids," Thompson told Mike when they planned the visit. "He's great at demonstrations, and the children always get such a kick out of seeing what police dogs can do." Bolt was a 5-year-old German Shepherd with an impressive service record in drug detection, search and rescue, and criminal apprehension. He was also known for his gentle temperament around children, making him perfect for community outreach events. Thompson and Bolt arrived just as the party was hitting its peak. Children were running around the backyard, playing games, and eagerly anticipating the cake-cutting ceremony. David Sullivan was positioned near the gift table, taking candid shots of the children as they played. "Officer Thompson," Emma squealed with delight when she saw the police car pull up, "you brought Bolt." The children immediately gathered around as Thompson began explaining Bolt's training and demonstrating basic commands. Bolt performed flawlessly, sitting, staying, and even shaking hands with brave volunteers from the party crowd. But when Sullivan approached to photograph the demonstration, Bolt's behavior changed completely. The moment David Sullivan stepped within 10 feet of the children's group, Bolt's ears went back, and he began to growl, a low, menacing sound that made every parent in the yard stop talking and look toward the demonstration area. "Bolt, easy," Thompson said, confused by her partner's sudden agitation. She'd never seen him react negatively to someone at a children's event. Sullivan paused, camera in hand, looking concerned. "Is everything okay? Maybe I should step back while you finish the demonstration." But Bolt's reaction only intensified. The dog positioned himself between Sullivan and the children, his hackles raised, his body language clearly indicating that he perceived Sullivan as a threat to the young people around him. "I'm sorry," Thompson said to the confused photographer. "Bolt's never done this before. He's usually great with everyone." Mike Chen's detective instincts kicked in immediately. He'd worked with canine units long enough to know that police dogs didn't show aggression without reason, especially dogs as well-trained and reliable as Bolt. "Thompson," Mike said quietly, moving closer to his partner, "Bolt's alerting to something specific about this guy. We need to take this seriously." While Thompson kept Bolt calm and positioned away from Sullivan, Mike began a discreet background check on the photographer using his phone. What he found made his blood run cold. David Sullivan's real name was David Kowalski, and he was a registered sex offender who had been convicted of possessing child pornography 3 years earlier. He'd served 18 months in prison and was supposed to be registered with local authorities, but he'd been using a false identity to work children's events. "Get the kids inside now," Mike told his neighbor quietly, trying not to cause panic. "Call their parents and tell them the party's moving indoors for cake." While the children were being ushered into the house by concerned parents, Mike confronted Sullivan in the backyard. "Mr. Sullivan, I need to see some identification," Mike said, his hand resting casually on his service weapon. Sullivan's friendly demeanor immediately changed. His eyes darted toward the back gate, and Mike could see him calculating whether he could escape before being stopped. "Is there a problem, detective?" Sullivan asked, his voice noticeably different from the cheerful tone he'd used with the children. "We'll see," Mike replied. "ID, please." When Sullivan reached for what Mike assumed would be his wallet, he instead pulled out a small device that Mike recognized as a wireless camera transmitter. Sullivan was not just photographing the children, he was live-streaming the party to unknown recipients. "Everyone down," Mike shouted, drawing his weapon as Sullivan bolted toward the back gate. Thompson released Bolt, who immediately pursued Sullivan and brought him down before he could escape the yard. The photographer was subdued and handcuffed within minutes, his camera equipment and electronic devices secured as evidence. "David Kowalski," Mike said as he placed the man under arrest. "You're under arrest for violation of sex offender registration requirements, child endangerment, and whatever else we find when we search your equipment." The party had turned into a crime scene, but Mike's primary concern was making sure the children understood they were safe and that none of them had been harmed. The FBI was called in when investigators discovered the extent of Sullivan Kowalski's operation. His camera equipment contained thousands of photographs and videos of children from parties, school events, and public gatherings throughout Northern California. This wasn't just about taking pictures, FBI agent Maria Rodriguez explained to the task force. Kowalski was running a sophisticated operation that involved photographing children, then selling those images to a network of predators online. The wireless transmitter found in Kowalski's possession had been broadcasting live footage of Emma's party to a private chat room where known pedophiles were watching and commenting on the children in real time. He'd infiltrated the children's party circuit, Agent Rodriguez continued. Parents hired him because he came recommended by other parents, not knowing that his references were fake and his entire business was a front for exploitation. Computer forensics revealed that Kowalski had photographed over 200 children's events in the past 3 years, creating a massive archive of exploitative material that was distributed to predators across the country. Sarah Kim, a veterinary behaviorist who studied police dog capabilities, was brought in to analyze how Bolt had detected Kowalski's criminal intent when no human had suspected anything. Police dogs can detect stress hormones, deception chemicals, and even residual scents from criminal activity, Dr. Kim explained. Bolt was likely responding to a combination of factors that indicated Kowalski posed a threat to children. But Kowalski seemed completely normal, Thompson pointed out. He was friendly, professional, good with the kids. "Predators often present themselves as the most trustworthy people," Dr. Kim replied, "but they can't control their biological responses to being near potential victims." Bolt was detecting chemical signatures that Kowalski couldn't fake, stress hormones, predatory pheromones, possibly even traces of other children on his clothing or equipment. The case became a landmark study in how canine units could detect predators who had successfully fooled human screening processes. The revelation that their trusted children's photographer was actually a predator sent shockwaves through the Sacramento community. Parents who had hired Kowalski were horrified to learn that their children's images had been distributed to pedophile networks. "We thought we were being careful," said parent Robert Johnson, whose son's soccer team photos had been taken by Kowalski. "We checked his references, looked at his portfolio, even met with him beforehand. He seemed like the perfect choice for children's events." The case prompted a complete review of how parents vetted service providers for children's events. Background check requirements were implemented for anyone working with minors, and law enforcement began conducting regular sweeps of online predator networks. "Kowalski showed us that predators will go to extraordinary lengths to gain access to children," said Detective Rodriguez during a community safety meeting. "They create false identities, fake references, and entire business fronts to get close to potential victims." The 20 children who attended Emma's party required counseling to help them understand what had happened and to ensure they hadn't been traumatized by the incident. Child psychologists worked with each family to address concerns and provide support. The children were fortunate that they were never alone with Kowalski and that the situation was resolved quickly, said Dr. Jennifer Walsh, who coordinated the counseling response. But knowing that someone they trusted was actually dangerous has been difficult for some of them to process. Emma Chen, despite being the birthday girl whose party was disrupted, showed remarkable resilience. She was more concerned about Bolt than about the scary man who had been taking pictures. "Bolt saved us," Emma told her father. "He knew the man was bad, even when we didn't. He's the best police dog ever." Kowalski's arrest led to a nationwide investigation that uncovered a network of predators who were exploiting children's events to create and distribute illegal material. The photographer had been just one node in a larger operation that included event planners, coaches, and youth organization leaders. This network had been operating for years, Agent Rodriguez revealed. They shared information about events, traded images, and even coordinated their activities to maximize access to children. The investigation resulted in over 50 arrests across 12 states and the rescue of several children who had been directly victimized by network members. Bolt received numerous awards for his role in exposing Kowalski and protecting the children at Emma's party. He was honored by the American Kennel Club, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and law enforcement agencies across California. But the recognition that meant the most came from Emma and her friends. They held a special ceremony at Riverside Elementary, presenting Bolt with a handmade medal and a scrapbook filled with thank you letters and drawings. "Bolt, you protected us when we didn't even know we needed protection," read one letter from a third grader who had been at the party. "Thank you for being braver than the bad man." 3 years after the birthday party incident, Thompson and Bolt continued their partnership with enhanced focus on protecting children from predators who infiltrated community events. Their case had led to new protocols for screening vendors and service providers who worked with minors. The Kowalski case taught us that threats to our children can come from anywhere, even people we specifically hire to work with them, Thompson reflected. But it also taught us that protection comes from unexpected sources, like a dog who refuses to let predators get close to kids. Their work led to several other investigations, where Bolt's alerts exposed dangerous individuals who had gained access to children through seemingly legitimate means. Emma Chen grew up understanding that she'd been protected by something special that day. As she got older, she became an advocate for canine units and child safety programs, often speaking about how Bolt had kept her and her friends safe. "I learned that bad people can seem really nice," Emma said during a school safety presentation when she was 12. "But good dogs can always tell the difference. That's why we need to listen to them." Her father Mike incorporated the lessons learned from that day into his police work, becoming a specialist in crimes against children and working to develop better screening processes for people who worked with minors. The birthday party case became a training scenario for law enforcement agencies across the country, demonstrating how predators could infiltrate trusted positions and how canine units could detect threats that human screening missed. Bolt's story reminds us that evil can hide behind any face, any profession, any reputation, said Dr. Kim during a conference on child protection. But it also reminds us that protection comes in many forms, including four-legged guardians who can smell deception that completely fools human judgment. I still get chills thinking about that sunny Saturday afternoon when 20 children gathered to celebrate Emma's birthday, having no idea that a predator was documenting their innocence for distribution to monsters online. If Mike hadn't arranged for Thompson and Bolt to visit, if he'd dismissed Bolt's aggressive behavior as stress or confusion, those children would have become victims of an exploitation network that had been operating for years. Bolt's story teaches us something terrifying but essential about protecting our children in modern society. The people we trust most with our kids, photographers, coaches, teachers, event coordinators, have incredible access to young lives. Most use that access to create joy and positive memories, but some exploit it in ways that are almost impossible to detect with human intuition alone. But it also shows us that vigilance comes in forms we might not expect. Bolt couldn't speak the words, "This man is dangerous," but his refusal to let a predator near children communicated that message more clearly than any background check or reference could have. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had an animal react negatively to someone at a family gathering or children's event? Have your pets shown unusual aggression or fear toward people that everyone else found trustworthy? These reactions might be more important warning signs than we realize, especially when it comes to protecting our children. Share your experiences in the comments below, because at Saved by Tales we believe that our four-legged protectors can detect threats that completely fool our human judgment. If Bolt's incredible story moved you, if it made you think differently about trusting animal instincts over human impressions, please share this video with other parents who need to hear it. Hit that like button, subscribe to Saved by Tales, and help us continue telling the stories of animals whose instincts protect our most precious treasures from those who would harm them. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes the best security system for our children comes with 4 paws and an unshakable